I'm up really early this morning. It's cold, it's raining, but it's going to be worth it because I'm heading to Austin, Texas to do something really cool. Hey guys, it's Aaron with Do Good Work. We're here in Austin. I'm about to meet up with Melina. We're going to go into the first round. It's an UnderConsideration production, something we've been really looking forward to. We're going to be talking about first round presentations on some of the best creatives in the country. So they're going to have about 30 minutes for each presentation. We're going to see if we can shoot something inside. But at the end, we're definitely going to share with you guys what we've learned. So I can't wait, so stay tuned.
Oh, yeah, there's one more. Right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Morning.
17.
We always forget to do this. I am Armin Bent.
Brian Gomez Palacio.
Of UnderConsideration, and we're the ones that organize this and do what you're about to see. So hopefully you enjoy it.
Melina and I are taking a break from the first round. We're having lunch here at this barbecue place called Cooper's. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you thought about what we saw today, during the morning session.
It's pretty exciting to see a lot of studios that we reference when working on projects and seeing how there's a lot of parallels with our first round presentations.
Yeah. We do stuff in-house and we don't know if what we're doing is right or not, but coming to events like this really allows us to see what other amazing studios are doing, and it sort of validates that we are doing a lot of things right.
Yeah.
And I think it also gives at least me a lot of inspiration for things we can make adjustments on.
What they really call out is interesting. Like, we could both be talking about brand pillars, but kind of how they presented it on the actual presentation is a little different.
I think there's a lot of sort of common baselines that I'm starting to see with a lot of these great agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another second half today, which we're excited to see. Most of them here from Austin, which
all
is
of them.
Which she's from Austin, for those of you who didn't know. So this is like her backyard. So there's something I think something in the barbecue is what makes these guys so good.
Maybe.
So I'm just going to keep eating a bunch of this stuff.
Maybe.
Hey everyone, we just finished our last session here at First Round. Oh my God, it was so inspirational. So many great speakers today. Some of the agencies that I look up to, like Helms Workshop was here, Pentagram was here, and they all presented what they do in First Round. It was really inspirational to see how they do things, to reflect on how we do it at Farm Design. There's definitely a lot of tweaks that we like to make on how we do our presentations based on what I learned today. So I can't wait to share this with you guys. Stay tuned and we'll share all that with you. Hey everyone, we're back here in the studio at Farm Design. We just came back from Austin, Texas, your hometown.
Yep, I was raised there, went to school there.
And that's where we found her. We plucked her out of there and brought her here to Pasadena. So there was an event there in Austin. It's called First Round. It was presented by UnderConsideration. For those of you who don't know who UnderConsideration is,
UnderConsideration is a graphic design team based in Bloomington, Indiana, and they're behind some of the coolest websites like Brand New and Art of the Menu, which we reference a lot here in the
a lot
office.
of great resources that we go to. So for those of you who haven't heard of them, definitely check them out. So First Round, it's a format that they created where they bring in agencies and creatives to present to us what they present to clients in sort of 30-minute format. And it's something that I'm really curious about because I've been doing this for 20 years and I still scratch my head. Am I doing it right? You have far less experience than me.
Just 2 years.
But I think we both are learning from this and we're trying to implement and tweak what we're doing in our deck.
Yeah.
So what this means to you is we want to provide you guys with the tools and the knowledge that we have and what we gathered from this event as well. So you can have best practices and bring more value and sort of hit the strategy and hit the target for what the client is looking for on your next presentation. There was so many nuggets of wisdom at this event. I don't know where to start. So what we're gonna try to do for you guys is sort of break it down. I picked my top 3 takeaways.
And I have my top 3.
So I'd love to hear what you
Yeah.
took away from it that inspired you.
So my top 3 takeaways, number 1 is from Jose Canales from Canales & Co. And his tip was to leave breadcrumbs. And what he means by this is to repeat what the client has told you. And by doing this, you're leaving breadcrumbs that keeps the client nodding and makes selling easier.
I think what's really important about that is getting some sort of nonverbal sort of cues from the client. If you start leaving those sort of like hints and getting them to acknowledge it, it gives you more encouragement knowing that you guys are on the same page. So it's something that I'm always looking for in presentations as well.
Number 2 is name your concepts. So this was a tip from UnderConsideration.
Wait, but we name our concepts.
We do, but we should.
It's different than that.
It's different.
Okay.
So their tip was to not name your concepts based on the numerical order and name it based on your idea behind it. So this will make it easier for the client to become more familiar with what your idea was behind.
And it's more rooted in concept too,
Yeah.
as opposed to just option 1 or option 2.
Yeah, so you can have a more succinct name for it. Now, my number 3 takeaway is from Trina Bentley from Make and Matter.
Of Trina. She's awesome. For those of you who don't know her, check her out.
So her tip was to establish design goals. So what she means by this is a lot of people want to just go straight into presenting their concepts, but you should take a step back and reiterate what the design goals are and why we're here.
You're saying it sort of creates a framework again for everyone to get on the same page, sets that stage before we go in and show the creative side of it.
Yeah.
So those are great tips. I have my top 3 as well. And there was a lot to choose from, but so here's my number 1 takeaway. It's from Alana Louise Lyons. She used to work at Helms Workshop.
Yep.
So her takeaway is have a deck that can present itself. And what this means is sometimes if a deck is just purely creative, it may not communicate to all the other powers that be that might be looking at this deck. So even though you're presenting to your point person, keep in mind that this may move on to other people within their team, and you may not be there to present it.
Yeah, definitely. She even said that it even helps her clients be able to take this deck to possible investors. Yeah.
You were paying attention.
Yeah, I was.
Nice, okay. My number 2 was by Lauren Dickens. She said, responsible growth takes patience. And I think what this means is it's important to understand and let the client understand that this is a process, that it's not going to just happen on that first meeting, that it's not everything is going to materialize in that. It's part of the process, and reassuring them that this is just one step of many steps to get to that end goal. And number 3 is don't leave the room unless you understand everything. And this was by Christian Helms from Helms Workshop. This is really important, especially for me as the creative director in guiding a team, is I want to make sure that I understand and capture all the notes that the client sort of provided during that meeting. And because I need to come back to you guys and be able to clearly articulate what the client wants, and then when I'm directing your design, I need to know it as if I'm the client itself.
So those are our takeaways from First Round in Austin.
And it's something that even us as somewhat experienced, we're going to take a lot of these lessons that we learned from these other agencies and we're going to implement them into our workflow as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So now that we've shared some of our experiences and lessons that we learned from the event, I think this would be a great time to sort of put on the hat of being able to share with you guys what we've done on presentations. There's a project that you worked on recently I think would be a great case study.
Yeah, so we're gonna show you guys Sweetie Mochi, which is a project we just put out on our website. And we're gonna use that as a case study to show you guys how we go about presenting a first round presentation. So we're gonna break down our process into 5 high-level steps. Number 1 is research and strategy.
I think this is one of the cornerstones. You have to start with this and to really guide everyone, the team, the client, and the purpose is to capture the insight and get the information download from the client so we all are informed on where to take the project next.
Yeah, definitely. You want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and we're not making stuff with skulls and crossbones when they want unicorns and rainbows.
Exactly. What we learned from first round is a lot of the agencies, actually when they do the research and strategy, they show that, they reiterate it when they do the presentation, so they have sort of an abridged version of that, that sort of leaves those sort of breadcrumbs like you mentioned earlier into the actual design. Every client is different and we have to sort of address and tailor each research and strategy deck to their needs. But there are 4 things that we always want to sort of capture within that deck.
So here are 4 questions that we always ask. Who are you? Who needs to know? How will they find out? And why should they care? And number 2 is creative discovery. So once we have the roadmap from research and strategy, this is when we get to go into the fun part.
The creative part is something that we always love to sink our teeth into. There's a lot of different techniques in this stage. Everyone has their sort of best practices. What we started to notice from the event is that pretty much everyone does like mood boards, which I think is a pretty common practice. We think it's highly effective, but we oftentimes do brandscapes, which is sort of a collage of mood board and logos and type. So I think during this stage, it's more internal facing. It's really the first stage, the research and strategy is a lot of collaboration with the client. Stage 2, we do a lot of iterations internally. If there are a lot of instances where we can engage with the client and sort of bring them in, sometimes we share them the mood boards to make sure that we're on target. A lot of our clients really love to be involved and feel like they're part of the process. So you sort of gauge what that is with your clients.
So step 3 is presentation of concepts. So this is where we get to present our download from the research and strategy and really show all of our efforts that we put in.
This is the stage for me where I don't know about you, I have the most anxiety. There's so many different techniques in how to present, but I think just really high level, it's just being really clear and succinct. And I think what we do on most of our presentations and what I learned from a lot of the other agencies is they keep it pretty simple. White background, concepts, just so it's not cluttered, doesn't have too much visual complexity. It just allows them to focus on what was the task at hand.
So it's up to you how many concepts you present. Sometimes we present 3 to 8, but even at first round, we saw some people presenting 1 client,
one. Yeah. That blew my mind.
That gives me anxiety.
There's a couple agencies just showed 1 concept, and I think 1 was successful and one not so successful.
Yeah.
But it really feels like there's no safety net. It's like the client either has to run with it or it fails. I like to do at least 3, so it gives them range. Yeah. There are some agencies that presented
30.
Yeah, 30 concepts. But I think the key is understanding what is right for your client. I don't think it has to be hard set in stone. This is how you do a presentation. I think it's our job to allow the client to make succinct and knowledgeable decisions on what direction to go.
Number 4 is capturing the client's response. So it's important to get the initial response from the client. This can be done by taking notes or asking questions.
Or what I like to do is I really watch the client's body language and sort of the nonverbal communication when we're doing the presentation. I think it's at this stage that the gut feeling that they have, those initial sort of reactions, I think are really telling in whether they like something or don't like something. So I'm trying to be as observant as possible during the meeting, sort of try to capture these nuances. Sometimes clients are really good at just telling you, and that's great. We'll take notes, we'll capture that. Whereas others are really sort of kind of cagey and they sort of keep it to themselves.
Say anything at all.
And that is really difficult.
And something we find really effective is printing out all the concepts to have laid out on the table, because at the end of the presentation, toggling through everything takes so much time. So having everything clearly laid out for them to narrow down what they like and don't like is really effective.
Absolutely.
Number 5 is defining next steps. So now that we've presented our concepts, we want to create clarity of where we are moving forward in the process.
Because this is the stage where we're basically handing off the creative to their team, and we want it to be clear that they understand what their roles are moving forward. This really helps make sure that we stay on time and on budget as well. As a recap, here's the 5 steps that we encourage you to use as foundational tools to building your presentation. But I want you to be mindful that keep it organic, make tweaks that are right for you. And here they are. Number 1 is research and strategy. Number 2, creative discovery. Number 3, presentation of your concepts. Number 4, capturing the client's response and notes. And number 5 is understand the next steps.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video. We encourage you to implement these 5 steps into your next presentation. Let us know how it goes in the comments below. If you'd like to join our tribe, hit the subscribe button. And remember, life is always better when you do good work. Bye.